Good morning. So you join us today on day 2 on the beautiful Weaver navigation. But how did we get here?
Built in 1875, the magnificent Anderton boat lift in Cheshire was a huge feat of engineering. It transported boats 50 foot from the Trent and Mersey Canal level down to the Weaver navigation below. The towns in this area have the suffix of Wich, Middlewich, Northwich, Nantwich, which signifies that they were salt mining towns, and salt was still a huge industry in this part of Cheshire at this time. The smaller narrowboats would be transshipped into larger boats that would be taking the cargo down the River Mersey and out to Liverpool docks to be transported all around the world. The lift has 2 huge tanks known as caissons, which work on a counterlever system, with one tank going up and one tank going down. Unfortunately, in 1983, the lift fell into disrepair and was abandoned. And this is how I remember it when I was a kid in the 80s. It was such a shame, and those huge cogs that you saw in the previous photograph were my playground. But thankfully, the lift is now fully restored, and it's ready and waiting for us to go down onto the river today. The River Weaver was turned into a navigation in the 18th century, which essentially means canalising it, which is straightening it out and adding some rocks in really. Quaysides were built so that the industry could transship its goods much more easily onto boats. The locks on the River Weaver are normally two chambers side by side, with a larger one and a smaller one. And the larger ones can be up to 213 foot by 36 foot wide. Wowza! From the air, you can understand the way that the locks are laid out on the river, with this larger chamber on the left hand side that has gates halfway down, so they could have been closed to accommodate for smaller boats. There's a bridge across both chambers, and then the smaller chamber on the right hand side for smaller craft. The bridges need to be swung across so that boats can enter the lock. On the island in between the chambers are these magnificent railway signals, which were originally used to show boaters which of the chambers was ready to go. Unfortunately, they're not in use anymore, but I love the fact that they're still there. Tucked away behind all the industrial units is the site of the old Yarwood shipbuilding and boat building yard. It built 1,000 ships between 1896 and 1966 for the canals and rivers of the country, used for taking cargo all over the network. If we had been able to have seen this view from a narrowboat in the 1980s, it would have looked like this. This is the site of the huge Winnington ICI works. It dominated all of this scenery to the left-hand side. Only a small part of it is left now, but when I was a child it looked like this in the 90s, with the lift at the front. Now most of it's been dismantled, and part of it has even become a huge housing estate. Here, the original path of the river goes off to the left-hand side over a weir. This is what I meant by canalising earlier on, as the navigation carries on straight ahead and the original meanders go off. Coming round the corner out of Saltersford Lock, we were lucky enough to encounter the fantastic steam tug, the Daniel Adamson. She was built in 1903 at Camel Laird shipyard in Birkenhead on Merseyside, and for years used to tow barges up and down the river and out onto the Mersey to Liverpool docks. She has now been restored to her former glory in all of her Edwardian splendour, complete with staterooms and back in full steam. You can often see her plodding up and down the river on day trips. She has a wonderful squeak to her engines, which you can hear here in this video of the boiler room I took last year. It really was wonderful to pass there on the river. A real piece of history.
So here we are, back in the lift again. The gates have just closed behind, and I am about to ascend back up to the Trent and Mersey level, which is up there, after a lovely stay on the river. Very good. So, off we go, I think.
From this angle looking up, you really do get an idea of how the lift works, with those huge hydraulic rams. The caissons originally were counterbalanced, and all those cogs on the top were part of the gearing to mechanise it. Nowadays, the lift is powered by hydraulics, and each of the caissons can be lowered or raised independently of each other. As you can see, on the day that I went back up on the lift, I was the only one in my caisson, and the trip boat was going down on the other side. And with the Trent and Mersey level now in sight, as soon as the tank is equalised with the canal, then the gates can be raised, and out I go back out onto the aqueduct again. With just one more gate to go before I'm free and back out onto the canal, I would like to thank everybody for watching, and if you haven't already, then please like and subscribe to the channel and look at the other videos. There will be more Canal Chronicles to come very soon, so thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again.